After a long day of being pulled in every direction, the last thing anyone wants to think about is what's for dinner. That's where Schwann's can help, with a variety of real food choices, frozen to lock in freshness. From ready-made meals, premium meats and side dishes, to vegetables, ice cream, and more. Schwann's foods go from freezer to table in minutes, not hours, so you can pull off a delicious meal in no time at all. Ordered, delivered, done. That's homemade easy. To help simplify mealtime, visit schwans.com. This is Julie.
Hey, calendar, what's my morning like?
Julie's about to have a long day.
At 9 a.m., soccer carpool. 9:10, purchase birthday card. 9:05, dry cleaning.
Did you just go backwards?
I'm sorry, I can't fit that question into your schedule. 9:15, cry for a little bit.
For days that won't end, let Schwann's help. With Schwann's, you can get delicious meals that go from freezer to table in minutes, not hours. Ordered, delivered, done. That's homemade easy. Visit today at schwans.com.
Hey there, this is Jim the Keys bartender coming to you from the lower, what was that? The lower left-hand side.
Lower left-hand side of the United States.
I don't know what I was fucking thinking. Damon and Tyler pointed out that I was looking at the map. I guess I was representation if I'm the map, right? If I'm the United States, right? If my body's the United States, the Keys would be my toe.
Right.
Left.
Toe.
If I'm looking at you from this
If
side.
he was standing.
If you were in Canada, yes.
No, I'm facing you. I'm the United States.
He's the United States and looking at the universe.
Oh, yeah.
And we were looking at the lower left.
I'm the lower left. I'm left-handed. Everything's fucked up. It's just the way it is. I can't help it. I'm dyslexic. But that's great. I just pointed it out. I'm glad it's there. And
So to correct every
I'm here.
listener,
We're here in Key Largo.
Yes, we are in Key Largo. We're not actually
in Baja, Mexico.
And we're not
in Baja,
we're not
California.
in Mexico. No.
Mm-hmm.
No, we are
Although-
definitely.
That would be a fucking great
Hola
episode.
to
Baja
everyone in
is
Mexico.
we're considered an outlaw kind of part of the country. That Baja, California, Baja, Mexico is some weird shit goes on there. A lot of arms dealing, drugs, and shit like that. I guess it would be kind of exciting. But this is episode 155, Hickory, Dickory, Douche. You like it?
I would like you to elaborate.
Just the day when it was Friday, we have to lay out that there was a couple of strangers that came in there, and you'll see a picture of a crazy bus. And I think part of it is in Philadelphia, I used to live in at the far northeast section of the city, and there was a bus line.
He probably means the far northwest section of the city.
Northeast. No, it's called, the name of it was the far northeast. So it is the northeast.
Okay.
It wasn't the west
Depending on
side of it.
what side of the
it
city
follows
you're
the
standing
course
on.
of the Delaware River. But there was the main street was Frankfurt Avenue, and it was called the Sea Line Tavern. It sounds like a classy place. It was anything but. It was the end of the bus line that was there. And there was other buses that went, but this was the most frequented one, and it just stopped at the terminal, and every lowlife would go there, including myself, on many a night. They had a horseshoe pit and electronic darts in there. Yeah. It wasn't that big where you have a pool table and stuff like that. But when you're near a bus line, or in our case, where I work, we're across the street from the government center, which is the county center, and they have a public dock there. And we got all the people that live on the hook there. They live on derelict boats and things like that. I heard some good stories.
Similar to down here.
Similar to down here, yes.
Here
Here
in Mexico.
Here in Mexico.
Ours
No.
just went in Marines.
Well, I did admit to it. I mean, seeing part of it is that's the way I operate. Part of the things, if I had to watch to make sure everything I said was 100% vetted, I couldn't say anything. Because I'm not exactly sure if anything I say is correct.
We're just winging it, Jim.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure.
Comedy.
I'm not hurt by it. I think it's great. I live by my mistakes. I monetize my mistakes. I did. I was married for 7 years. I was in AA for 7 years. Same as I was
Was it
in
during
married.
the same time? Was it married for
No,
7
no,
years?
no. It was at the end of my marriage.
I mean, because that would make sense.
It was after my marriage. I got that. So I mean, I made the commitment for 7 years for marriage, and 7 years in AA.
But you are currently married now again, though. You are.
I'm not really married.
Oh, you're not really married now.
I call my wife and
okay.
stuff like that. And everyone goes, "What's the difference?" I said, "Well, it's really no different. I mean, the state would argue with
At
you
the
on
end of
that.
the day, it's a piece of paper.
Exactly, Damon. That's it.
It is.
If you can get closer on that, I'll just turn yours up a little more. Matter of fact, I like that. The great thing about a dynamic mic, though, the reason why I use it, it's a little breezy out here. It's beautiful, but you don't have to worry about wind noise. And things like that.
Our cold front coming in here, folks. It's supposed to get into the low 60s tonight.
Which is
going to be very cold.
I apologize to people in Minnesota and stuff like that. I think you're getting like negative 12.
Well, it hasn't
15.
been extremely cold up there the last couple of weeks, but it keeps snowing, and it just doesn't seem to stop. Mm-hmm. But and then
I heard they had 500 someplace in California, ski resort. They had over 500 inches of snow, and they were expecting another 30 or something like that. And they expect to be skiing there until July 4th.
Wow.
Well, I mean, usually they're making snow if they don't have enough, and that costs a lot of money.
Well, my sister and I went out to, it was Mammoth Mountain.
That's it, Mammoth Mountain.
Yeah, they get battered by snow. My sister and I went to go on called the Brasta snowboard trip. We haven't done it because now we're old and it hurts when we fall in several years, but we went, and right before we got there, they got 84 inches in 30 hours. And
84 inches.
84 inches of snow in 30 hours.
I understand that's a little too much for places like that because they like to have fresh snow every night, but 84 inches, it's just like one of those guys in the porns. 14 inches. What the hell are you going to do with 14 inches? Unless you're a donkey.
It was a
you know what I mean?
base.
I mean, 84 inches of snow. There's a bunch of inches not being used there. And
it was a great base. It was fine. Getting up the mountain in a Toyota Camry was a little bit interesting.
And then you got to worry about avalanches and stuff.
Well,
like that.
that's the thing I was just going to go into is because that's 3 hours back for me. Mm-hmm. I'm an early bird. I get up 6:30 without an alarm every day of my life. Yeah. So I'm waking up out in California at 4 o'clock is sleeping in local time. Yeah. So I would grab my coffee and I'd go outside. And I would just listen to the blasting and watch the activity and hear the helicopters. And I asked the resort manager, I'm like, what the heck is all this racket? Oh, we have to blast the mountaintop, cause the avalanche, then we send everything
Do they use
up.
mortars?
They do.
Oh,
They drop them from a helicopter in strategic places and
drop
just
them from a helicopter.
Boom. Well, they can't get up there.
I know. I'm just thinking that you're got a charge. You're on a helicopter and. Just the smallest explosion, M80 going off a helicopter will bring it down.
It's living life on the edge,
if you
man.
got one of those. Oh God. Okay. Well, we are the Keys thing. I was at a Keys. We'll discuss this too. We can have a little meeting while we're doing this. But we'll get in. We'll do an extra long episode today. If you're all right, if you can come back on Thursday, we'd like to do another episode.
Sure.
We usually do a Thursday episode every week. We sometimes just record it right after this one.
Shh, don't tell.
But don't tell anyone.
What? What are you talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about, Jim.
That must be from the left-hand side of the United States. I don't fucking know what you're talking about. I take umbrage in
your. You
your.
know what? I just made that up. You make stuff up all the time.
So I was no, that's it. I like it. No, I'm not hey. Did I give you a hard time about it? I like it. I said so before we got on the show, they started busting my balls about it, and I said, "Save that for the fucking show." I didn't say fucking. Save that for the show. If you're gonna have anything embarrassing to say to me, don't do it beforehand.
You are fun to pick on.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's the best way to do it. I don't necessarily. You have to have a thick skin. If you don't, why the hell would anybody possibly ever want to come on?
Right.
So before the reason we got started so late today was because of me. I went to it's called 43 Keys, and it's 43 because of the number of keys. I didn't put that together. I'm an idiot, much like not knowing where the right-hand side of the United States. I'm looking at it as if I'm the United States. I am a weirdo, man, when it comes like that. I was going to say the lower left hand because I think I am the world.
Just look at it from an outsider's point of view.
They produce or are involved in 300 episodes a month. 300 episodes. And we do at most 10. But that's still, if there are like 60 of them, we're a high production for them. And eventually I would like to be every day. And they're all keys content. And I don't know if necessarily they want to be want us to associate, but it was the first time that we can actually have representation where there would be commercials and we'd have sponsors and we have a connection to Key West, and maybe we'll be able to go down there and be able to get sponsorship. We can go all stay at a resort, have a good time. I think we enjoy each other's company. Bring our significant others with us. Have a great time. Bring our friends. You can bring your boys. I'm sure they'll find some good times at the strip bars down there. Yeah. Right? Or, yeah. So, what the point was, they started talking, and I thought it was just a club, and it turned out to be a more of association. So we might be affiliated with them. It just be a better distribution network for us. We're still going to be on a regular. You still find us the same way you do, but we'll have more local sponsors and instead of generic content before. And it's supposedly 85% of people don't even tune out when they hear an advertisement and shit like that. So that's what I was doing there. And then at the end, they're introducing what podcast is. They're giving them and I've been studying that stuff for 2 years. How many people get podcasts and things like that. I haven't been studying my orientation on a map, but I do know some of the demographics for podcasting.
Speaking of locals, I have one that's harassing me at the moment. But I told her that if she listened and left us a good review, that I would say hello to. So hello, Alyssa.
Alyssa?
Alyssa Lanston. You know Alyssa.
Oh, really? Yeah, she's a beautiful woman.
Yeah. So she's one of our coworkers, actually. But I told her that I would say hi.
Yeah.
And I just sent her the link, which is actually really easy to do.
Really?
It's very easy to do.
It's very easy to do.
Oh, yeah.
And I sent it because I have an iPhone, so it makes it easy for me because it already has the iPhone.
The people
the
at the podcasting association, they're going up to which next year we'll go to. I'll invite you to go and stuff like that. I'm not assuming, but whoever's associated.
Does it have 44 keys?
It's going to be It's going to be It's going to be a national. It's a national podcast association, and they're going to meet here on the right side of the United States, in the center part of the state. And for you people that don't look at me as the map of the United States.
It's just whether or not, you know what it is? It's whether or not you're holding the map and looking at it, or if you're standing in the middle of the states and looking down at
left
Florida.
versus east, right versus west. That's my thing when I'm looking at everything's backward. I had a problem when I was in the Navy with marching, the left-right confusion, and they said if you juggled and stuff like that, you'd probably be better at that, but I didn't do that.
You know, I taught my mom my trick to
What?
it because I can actually write with both hands. So can she. So ambidextrous.
The last trick I learned was about leaning on your hand and letting it fall asleep.
That's called the stranger, Jim.
The stranger,
That's
yeah.
the stranger.
Yeah, where you can.
Yes, but if you are,
So
for
when
example,
you touch
somebody
yourself,
tells
when you
to take a
masturbate,
left-
it's like someone else is touching your
right,
penis.
yeah, well, 'cause
A manly
you
hand
can't-
touching your penis, which
Well, it's
a rough hand. Well, not
does
anymore.
it
My hands
matter
are
if
softer.
It's manly. It's somebody touching your penis.
Well, there's masturbation. It's always a man's hand touching
there
the
you
thing
go.
for a guy.
But
That's just the way it is.
L.
So
Your
I
left
mean,
hand makes an L. If you stick your thumb straight out and your pointer finger straight
You know,
out,
when you're pointing
it
at
makes an L,
someone,
so therefore
Jenna.
that is an L, like a loser, but L.
No, but when you're pointing at someone, 3 fingers are pointing at you, back at yourself. And I guess your thumb's pointing up to God or whatever astrological symbol you believe in. But
Your left hand
Yeah,
makes an L,
so-
Jim. That's how you know it's your left hand. You're doing it with the wrong hand.
I see it's left right there. I see it in my right. I see it's a right. It's a right.
It's not an R.
That's an L.
It's an L.
That's an L.
That's not an L.
That's my right. That's not an
your-
L.
You're looking at it backwards.
That's
That's your
an L.
problem. You just turned your
That's
arm
an
around.
L.
That's an L for me, but not for you.
It is here.
But you turned your hand around.
That's the way I have my hand. That's how it's connected to my hand.
Okay.
I don't go like that. I go like this.
So if you were laying in the middle of the United States, yes, we would be in the lower left corner.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, but do you ever
The
hear that
way
thing?
my United States is situated, the Florida Keys are in the
That's
lower
testing.
left-hand corner, but I am going to change it to the lower least.
Jim,
lower
are your
east.
fingernails clean?
Yeah, check them out.
Okay, you just fell for it. You just
What?
lost it. Okay, so you'd have to describe this to people, but For men, if you ask a masculine man if his fingernails are clean,
They go like that?
usually he would look at them, right, with his palm facing his hand, bending his fingers over to look at his nails.
A masculine man? I'm
A
masculine.
masculine man.
I'm a
An
fitness instructor.
effeminate man would hold his hand out with its palm away from him, looking at his fingers like, oh my God, I just got my nails done.
I did do that.
And that's exactly what you just
So
did.
what? I'm 55 years old. I'm not bound by this bullshit that goes on
See,
anymore.
this is
I'm big enough.
obviously-
I'm
this is
I
pick on
am
Jim Day.
comfortable. I'm comfortable with that.
This is pick on Jim Day.
See,
I'm going to go get him
no,
some nail
I don't
polish.
think it. I don't think. Hey, we're redefining masculinity here. Okay, having good nails. Check out my toes. Check out. You see my right foot. Okay, you can't see it, folks, but I don't have grungy toes.
You do not have grungy toes.
55-year-old man, no grungy toes, no hammer toe or weird shit going on.
Well, the weird thing is like when the toenail gets like 4 inches thick and bumpy.
Yeah,
that's creepy.
yeah,
That's creepy to look at.
There were, and for the people, a lot of people, I would assume, may or may not have been down to the Keys. There are a lot of people down here that walk around in flip flops that should honestly be wearing steel-toed boots.
How the hell do they get nasty when they're out all the time? See, they get nasty from shoes, right? You get a fungus and stuff like that. Why would you get a fungus if they're out in the sun?
Some people just have gross feet.
Really?
Yeah, it happens. Not everybody can.
There's ways you
But
can address that.
I'm-
The most extreme one is through amputation.
That
You
would
have
be
pegs. You have
extreme.
pegs like say you look at Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob SquarePants. You'll be walking around on the peg, but you can use antimicrobial brush on your
Fungus cream.
toes and
You
stuff
could-
like that.
fungus cream is
Fungus
easy.
cream.
So
yeah,
whether
I
you're
am.
whether you're from the Keys or anywhere else in the world, if your feet are,
This is Tyler speaking.
disfigured or just not the greatest looking feet, you should know that by now. Hopefully, a friend has told you. What I'm about to show Jim is actually very disturbing.
Oh, wait.
And this is one that I found
Let me
out.
take a drink.
From being in my previous job down here in the Keys.
What the fuck is that? Is that broken? Is that after an accident?
I don't know, but if that's, come on.
The toes. Okay, what I'm looking at, folks, I'm looking at a crusty set of toes. One toe, the big toe, is pointing the right directions, and then the little toe, the one that went wee all the way home, is pointing the right direction. But the other three are pointing at a 90-degree angle.
pointing east.
Pointing east. No, they're pointing west.
That would be well. It's
Well, they're
it's about
representing
your
the West
perspective.
Coast if you're looking at it
They're
that
pointing-
way.
They're pointing west. See that? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
We actually have a coworker that he shall remain nameless, but I'll just say he works in the parts department with me over
Yeah, I
there.
sent him that one.
He has a fascination for finding people in public with disgusting feet and taking pictures of them.
Of disgusting feet?
Yes. I don't quite understand what's behind it, other than I know he likes to share it within his circle of people. I never could get a solid answer out of him as to why he does it, but if he finds one, like when he runs over to the gas station, a tourist, you can tell a tourist from 500 miles away. But he'll come back and be like, oh, my
Yes.
God, you'll never believe what I just saw at the
Me
gas
anything.
station. And then he'll show me this picture,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I don't understand. I don't want to see it in person. Why would I want to take
You know,
it?
women don't have the foot fetish thing that guys do. I wonder why that is. But they do have a hand thing. I've been told, and this is one thing I'm going to be cocky. I've been told by women that I have
Fabulous
hands. Take a look. I'm going to ask Jenna to take a look at this. I'll make judgment.
Okay, I'm gonna
Give us
go back on the
description.
mic when I look at this because
Okay.
I am not going to. It's this part of the hand. Okay, so it's the thickness between your palm and the top of your hand.
Yeah.
Like that's what women think is cool. Because look at mine. I have these like tiny little hands.
Uh-huh.
But men that have like a thick between the palm and just above
It's
your wrist,
girthy, isn't
it's
it?
girthy, but it's strong. It means that you can like carry big things and give us good back rubs, and that's like guys with big hands and sexy, just like guys
Well,
with big
I mean,
shoulders.
I heard that they were looking at the back of it too. They liked the way they were structured. Yeah,
you could be
but
a hand model.
it's from repetitive. That thickness there is from repetitive motion.
Grabbing of
it's,
kegs and such.
I never had it described as a keg, but oh, you're talking about real kegs. I'm sorry.
Touching back to a couple
Touching back,
episodes
yeah.
ago, why you don't have any hair on your knees.
You're right here on my left knee. I see left knee. I got the left-right confusion. So, did we finish? We finished the toes, or we can get back to the toes thing. But you were there on Friday.
I was there on
that
Friday.
guy Norman. This guy comes walking in.
Yes.
Very friendly. He's very verbose. Guy was only like a year or two older than me, and he had. It wasn't the years; it was the mileage on this guy. So he's a little portly, he has belly, and he comes in, hey, my name's Norman, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sure he doesn't listen to podcasts and stuff like that. But if he does, maybe I'd say, hi, Norman, you're a fucking nut, okay? So he comes in, he starts drinking a Yingling and stuff like that. He has his shit in there. He says, I moved down, I want a Yingling, and that's from the same town I come from, Pottsville. I said, I'm from Pennsylvania. And he goes, that's like 50 miles away. And he goes, yeah. I said, where do you live, Norman? Well, I live in Brickell. And I said, oh, you live in Brickell? I said, well, he goes, no. He corrected me. He said, I sleep in Brickell. And I just thought, oh, what does that mean? And I thought it was a homeless
live
thing.
and stay.
Sounds like a homeless thing, or he's staying with somebody.
Right.
I can't see in Brickell. He's staying with someone like at some condo.
I
He's a kept man with some beautiful Brazilian model or something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't afford to live in Brickell, so
I think he lives under a bridge, or
he's crashing with somebody that he knows,
or maybe has a very sheltered bench there or something like that. But he sat there and he drank for a while, and he kept on walking away, and he has a problem with his shoulders. And he started going in on the Univision. This was the thing on the Univision. So that was the day he talks about Univision. He goes, I'm Brickell, and they got Univision does it there.
Oh, I
and
know
they go
this
like this.
guy now.
So he was talking the whole time. I said, so, Norman, you don't strike me as someone who's bilingual, but do you understand Spanish? I understand. And he started bugging me, and I said, do you understand Spanish? He goes, no. I said, uno momento. And I walked away, and he goes, what did that mean? And he walked away, and he just kept on drinking.
He was
and
very
shit like
slurry, by the way.
He was very slurry. He came in slurry, and then he goes to wait out for a bus for 2 hours after you left. And he's laying in the middle of the bike path with his head 1 foot away from the highway. And it's causing a traffic jam. Just laying there. So we go out there and say, God damn it, Norman, get out of the road. Get your head out of the road. He didn't seem suicidal or anything like that, but he's laying down. He's laying down with his head near the road. So,
Well, was he passed out?
Nope. He just, his shoulders were bothering him and stuff like that. He's doing his thing. Wherever he slept the night before, it bothered his shoulder. So he does it
On
for
the
2
park
hours.
bench
He
in
keeps on
Brickell.
going, and finally, I'm getting shit for him. He says, oh, did you give that guy a drink? He said, well, he's fine. He's just crazy. And he finally moved across the street, and he came in, and he said, Norman, stop laying in a goddamn street. Now I'm getting shit about that. So Norman leaves finally, gets picked up and goes wherever fucking, crazy people go. And this Mexican guy comes in with the mirrored sunglasses. And he sits down, and he has a heavy accent, and he's a low talker. Right? So I ask him 10 times what he wants. He wanted a Budweiser. But it took 10 times to get it. He wanted food and all that stuff. Just talking to me. He drank 3 Budweisers and 1 rum and Coke. And the last rum and Coke, he didn't have enough money for.
Yeah, he was like 30
I put
cents
the money in.
short or something.
30 cents
right?
short.
Yeah.
So, fuck, take it. Go. And so he goes outside. And then all of a sudden, someone comes in and says, there's a dead man outside.
A dead man.
He was sleeping in front of bushes in the building right next to us. And so
By
they
the architect's
grabbed
building.
everyone except me to go out there. I thought there was a problem. And they grabbed Jerry, they grabbed Holly, and they go out there. And I said, why didn't you grab me? She goes, it's not one of those things. They said if it was a guy, you had to pick up or someone who's combative, we would have got you. And it turns out he's laying on the ground, sleeping. And Jerry's poking him with a stick. Holly's Holly's nudging him with his toes, and he's there, and he keeps saying, wake him up, and you stand him up, and he falls back down again. And he's there for like 4 hours, and then just disappears. So it was the same day, and I'm thinking, how do we deal with these people when we come in? You don't want to. I understand why they come in here. Norman comes in here, and I talk to him, and people ignore them.
Right. Well, they probably crave some kind of social interaction.
Well, in their day-to-day life, if in fact their residence is a park bench or a bridge underpass, people would walk by them and
pretend they're not there.
pretend they're not there.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't even make eye contact or glance in that direction because don't ask me for money is the first thing that pops in.
I
avoid
talk
eye
to them, and if
contact,
they're
avoid
short on
contact.
stuff, I give them. But I'm not saying I'm not going to buy your drink and stuff like that. You know, the reason they got liquor stores there. You know, you can effectively get for $6 you can get a bottle.
Right. Well,
So
I mean,
if you
if
need
he
to do
bought
that,
3
but he wants
Budweisers
to
and
interact.
then-
They're coming in to interact.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say
It's the
they're
craving for the social
the social interaction.
Yeah, but they don't. I mean, the thing is, they come in, and this is where I'm torn because I feel guilty about it. But I want to say, just get the fuck out of here. You're taking money out of my pocket because when you sit there, no one else sits there.
Right.
No one else comes in. No one's going to talk to you.
Yes, but
I know,
on a
but my
business standpoint-
daughter, we're going to have a trouble going to Poland if I keep on getting these homeless people coming into place. And it's my responsibility to the owners of the business to make it as presentable as possible. So I'm thinking,
How
is
do
there a
you
way we can
nicely-
give back to them, but have them not come in here, but treat them with respect? I used to work for this guy in Philadelphia where I drove the van where we drive around and feed homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
And we prepare meals for them. And we drive to different areas of the city and stop and do that. And when I was a catering manager, the owner of the building said to me one time, he said, Jim, you can't feed these people. I said, they come up, they're hungry. What am I going to do? And then I just take them up to a local diner and say, listen, give me, here's $20. Get him whatever he wants up. Make sure let him order up to like $16, and you keep the rest for a tip. So I'm not doing it to go to heaven. I'm doing it so I can sleep at night.
Right.
Well, it's a compassion thing, but at your specific establishment, what about the outside area? At night, I don't see many people in that back.
And they do sit out there. There's one guy that would go out there and nice, and when people, they're so grateful when you're nice to them. But then there's other people that come in and like, and just.
Well, and the other
If
thing
you
is,
live in a
this-
city, you're always going to smell. You get on the subway or something, you're going to smell something strange.
This is an expensive place to live, and it's a tourist town. So you get a lot of tourists who have money to spend when they're here. They have expendable cash.
Expendable income.
And they're coming here so that they can enjoy themselves, and the last thing they want to do is interact with a homeless person and feel uncomfortable or get put on the spot and have
Yeah,
somebody
when you
ask
go
them
one
for
of
their
those
money.
public restrooms and you go and see some guy there washing his balls in the sink.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't want to watch.
Like
They don't want to watch you wash your
I'm going to wash my balls here and stuff, and then doing
They
all the
don't
grooming
wanna
stuff.
watch you watch Deets nuts.
What? D's nuts.
That was for Joe, by the way. Hi, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Joe,
Joe, if you're listening.
Joe's in Alabama.
Joe. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
What's Joe doing in Alabama?
Well, he sent us a video on Facebook about Deets nuts, their little meat nuts.
Meat nuts.
We'll have to show it to you.
We'll
It's
we'll
pretty
definitely
funny.
show it to you. It's awesome. It's kind of like chocolate salty balls, except where it's Deets nuts.
Deets nuts.
So, yeah. I mean, there's a bag of they're meat nuts. And if you would like to try some of Deets nuts.
Are they encrusted?
No,
They're-
meat looks the little image at
I
the end
actually
when
thought
they
it
fall
was
out
beef
of
jerky.
the bag. I thought it was beef jerky, just kind of in little
Is the
round
bag
segments.
kind
nuggets?
of wrinkled?
It's a bag like you.
I make it skin tone and wrinkled
It's-
with
Well, it
little
is brown
hair
and
on the
white.
side.
It is brown and white.
It
yeah.
is
Oh,
brown and white.
It was-
Oh, really?
It was a rather smooth bag.
But it was
for
smooth.
Deets
I don't know how they
nuts.
would get a good wrinkle into it to put it into production. But
Right.
just the commentary on the couch, the back and forth between the two people in the commercial is rather comical.
It is. It's comical. We'll send it to you later.
Meat nuts.
Meat nuts.
Meat
Deets.
nuts
Deets.
from
Deets.
Deets nuts.
Meat
It's
nuts.
Deets and something else. It was like Deets.
Deets and Wilson.
Deets and Wilson nuts. So he calls them Deets
That's up there
nuts.
with the truck nuts and all that stuff. It's an old the whole nut genre of decorations and
Right.
food items and Rocky Mountain oysters.
doesn't like
which
nuts?
I well, no, there's nothing wrong, but to go particularly for that area, It's like tiger penis soup. I don't have a problem with the penis,
You're just
but that you're
protecting
killing
the
a tiger for the penis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the part. You know, if the animal, like if you got a cow, or not a cow, obviously a cow wouldn't have one, the bull would. But the bull.
I was going to correct
you're
him, but
slaughtering it. I caught it. See?
Yeah,
I know, we're talking beef, right?
Yeah.
I have no problem, but the with the endangered species thing, that's my problem. You know, like that. But the idea, we spoke on previous episodes. It's a Japanese delicacy, and it's considered that it provides virility, much like the bullshit about oysters. What do you feel about oysters? Oh, we had a discussion. Fucking people are going nuts. I've never seen people go for nuts for oysters.
oysters and mangoes and whatever.
No, but here,
right?
just recently, over the years, I worked at a place that had the real gourmet oysters from all over, like Virginia, Nova Scotia, Washington State. They had all these different variety of oysters, and people would eat them up like crazy. But at the place I worked, the Catch Restaurant in Key Largo, great place to go. You can find me there.
Great food there.
Yep. They go through so many oysters for happy hour because they have a happy hour special Monday through Friday, 3:30, 6:30, and you get 75-cent oysters, which is kind of expensive other places, but it's Keys. Keys are very expensive, and that's a good deal. And people come in, and they just go, so how are your oysters? I said, well, what the fuck? You're eating an oyster. It looks like snot.
You have to slurp it out of the shell.
You have to slurp it out of the shell. You have to post a sign that says, warning, eating raw shellfish, if you're pregnant, is bad for your health.
Right.
People die from that stuff. And then you're discerning about the taste.
They're just
It's like if you're a cartographist. You know what a cartographist is? I said this before to other people. Because there was a guy in Philly that was a cartographist. A cartographist.
That's a new one for me.
It's a shit eater.
Delish,
yeah. Now, the guy was Eddie Savitz was his name, I think. He was an accountant in Philadelphia, reasonably successful. And he got arrested because he used to get teenage boys. And it wasn't the only thing he did. Well, he may have done other things, but the thing that made him get really he collected their soiled underwear in pizza boxes. And he used to store it in a storage container, like a U-Haul place, and they just found boxes and boxes of soiled underwear. And I said, well, what if you're into that? Why is it necessarily... It sounds like it should be both sex, because it doesn't really matter. But it had to be boys' underwear, I guess because it has more of a coverage than girls, because they have the smaller underwear.
Well, a thong's not going to catch much.
It's not going to catch much. You can't do it.
Fecal matter. Yeah,
this is this guy wasn't arrested for like anything like, but it was the pedophilia nature. He was a cartographist, and that was the thing. He used to pays the guy to do other things.
The teenage,
the young ones, significantly younger than him. They could be in their 20s, but the guy was like. I was going to say he was old. He was around my age now. Oh, fuck. Oh, he was fucking really old. And I go,
like
wait.
55.
He was 55 years old.
Boys' underwear.
Yeah, boys' underwear. Eddie Savitz. Eddie Savitz, I think his name was. Because I made a song instead of Candy Camera. You're on Uncle Eddie's camera. Because he used to have pictures of guys shitting on him and all that stuff. That's a cartographist, kids, just so you know. You learned something today. I think that's...
Like a Cleveland steamer? Is that right?
A Cleveland steamer is shitting on your chest, isn't it? The Pierre...
I'm obviously not versed on this topic.
The Pierre is
one
when
I
you
know
have...
is an upper decker.
That's an upper decker. I like the upper decker. The upper decker, it's a top shelf. Also, you ever heard of Top Shelf?
Decker, yeah.
Where are you from originally?
Here.
Dan?
I grew up here.
How the hell
because it used to be a really sleepy, small town. My graduating class...
No, I meant, how did something that we knew up in Philadelphia, and in between no one knew about that shit? Are you talking about shitting
honestly,
in a tank?
Yes.
Or shitting in a tank?
Yes, that's
Holy
called an
shit.
upper decker.
It must be because Philadelphia people come down here enough.
Well, actually, I'm going to blame this on two other coworkers and their child. because we have some other coworkers whose son got in trouble this past summer, so he was working, quote, washing boats for us for no pay as a punishment.
Hi,
But-
Alyssa. You know who we're talking about right now.
But he's very vocal. He enjoys conversation.
Yeah.
And he got into some interesting conversations with the other person from the toe incident, my other coworker. We have some interesting
the
people
toe,
that work, folks.
Yes,
the
we have.
toe
The
photo
toe guy.
collector. Yeah.
The toe guy.
And so that's where I found it out. But they're actually from North Carolina. So apparently it made it from Philadelphia down to the Carolinas, where it's a common thing for kids.
Well, it could have started in Carolina, and some Philadelphia people went to school in Carolina and came up to. I don't know but it's weird how things get regional like that. Okay.
So that's how I learned about it. But we're talking in the last 6-8 months. Before that, I'd never even heard about that.
When you hear something that's weird, that it kind of sticks with you, right?
Well, it sticks with you. But also, I'm not that old. I'll be 35 in 20.
Well, you're not.
3 days.
You're right in the thing of an older kid for me.
Right.
But you're a man.
But
You're a man now.
I sat at my desk, basically talking to myself in my head about, well, if he actually came back here, because he was asking everybody if they knew what it was. And I'm like, well, A, he knows I don't really care for him, so I doubt he'll come talk to me. But B, if he did, I'm going to have to pretend like I know. But how do you Google that real quick?
You go to Urban Dictionary.
Urban Dictionary.
Urban Dictionary.
So I'm reading it real quick. Then he comes back and he goes, you know what an upper decker is? I'm like, of course I do. Who doesn't?
You know how to do it right? When
I can't say I've ever thought about doing that.
No. Well, see, you got to have the right tank, right? And you got to the way it works
Jenna's looking
in a
at us
fraternity party. I explained
really-
it to Jenna before.
really
you wait
crazy,
You never
so-
heard that? I totally explained it to you.
So an upper decker.
Fill in the
for
sheltered
the-
private school girl from Minneapolis, please.
You
for
shit
the-
in the tank.
In the tank, the flush tank where it holds the clean water, so when you flush it, it drains.
So if you have really firm ones, you're just going to clog it up.
Right. So
You're just going to clog it up. But if you have a loose one, and let's say you're in line for a bathroom, and you're trying to talk to the woman behind you, right? You're saying, "Oh, well, I'm about to let her up," and she's just ignoring me. I said, "Well, fuck you, I'm not letting you up." And the girl's going to wait. And I said, "Well, not only am I going to take my time, I'm going to upper deck." And she goes in and uses it, and the toilet's empty. There's nothing in the thing. And she flushes and goes out. And the next person comes in and sees she
full
left
of
a
just-
load of shit in the toilet. And they think, oh, my God, that girl's disgusting. It works great if you eat a lot of corn, too. If you eat a shitload of
First
corn.
all, it makes me a little leery that I had to fix the Reva toilet like 3 times this last week because the flapper keeps getting stuck. Now I'm wondering why. I'm glad I washed my
remember
hands.
So
Glad
many,
I washed my
so many
hands.
times when first time I went at the Stowe, Vermont, we were drinking all night, and there was these beautiful girls from they were Mount Pillier. They were going to Mount Pillier. I was like 28 years old, and the girls were like seniors, and we were talking. And they came in, and I thought they were like really demure, classy ladies. And we're ready to go out again. We're going out. They had a jitney service in Stowe. You go out to all the bars and you get it. And all of a sudden, before we go out, we hear the girls, come in here. In the bathroom, and they go, holy crap, did you do that? It turned out they were pointing out the size of the shit in the toilet. It was a pretty young girls, and I go like, wow, they do it too. The commonality, man. You know, it's funny about those, the
Poop.
common things,
Everybody
and I
likes
just
to talk
lost
about
that.
poop.
Yeah, who doesn't?
My mom is a big poop talker. My brother has really good poop stories.
That was a
too.
big thing on Vice today. It was Vice News. They were talking about in like Tijuana, their infrastructure is so poor, they don't treat any of their sewage, and it comes out and it goes up the California coast.
That's
And
awful because that's how the Black Plague began. People
Well, that
shitting in
and
streets.
that
rats
and the rats
eating it.
and the particular flea that did that. But
Okay, Lissa just chimed in and she said, "Oh my effing God! I live where the sewer pipe broke in Tavernier, and now all of a sudden there's a horrible smell. Looks like I might need a hotel room."
oh, really?
Yeah.
I went to the gym today, so some of that stuff maybe Alyssa. Some of that stuff may at Mariners, right?
Yeah.
Alyssa, right across the street. There's a gym there. and I'm a spin instructor there, and I did use the facilities there. So
maybe it was your upper decker that clogged everything.
You always worry about your what you're leaving behind for future generations. Well, I know exactly what I left behind there.
She says it smells like death took an upper decker in a dumpster.
Oh, man. Life in the Keys. Aren't they wonderful?
Gotta love the island life.
You're telling me, though, that Elmer Fudd, who is the guy at work, mind you, this is the same.
tow guy?
This is the giant.
No, this is the parent, one of the parents of the child.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the same.
You call him Elmer Fudd.
I call him Elmer Fudd
because
because he likes to talk about guns. He likes. Anyway.
There's no depth.
he sounds like Forrest Gump.
Well, maybe that's just my horrible impression. But this is the same human that complained that I was mean to him and too hard on him and that I needed to lighten up.
Oh, really?
By the way, yes. So this is his teenage son that shit in a toilet, the top of a toilet?
Yes.
Where, at school?
I did not. I don't care to speak with him that long to find out the answers. I just heard a term I was not familiar with and needed to research it.
Yeah, I mean, there was that was pretty extreme, the upper decking thing. But there were also other things that young guys do. They were smacking each other in the nuts all the time. You walk up and you ever do the young guys get into nut smacking?
If anybody does that, they're going to catch an elbow across an eyebrow.
Well, it's kind of a mutual thing. They do it to each other,
but I don't understand why.
They do. I don't either. It hurts and stuff like that. I was at a bar, one of its local bars in Philly, and it was the Princeton. And one young guy came up. He ran up, and I didn't quite understand why he did it. He smacked me in the ass, and I elbowed him in the head. And his friends started coming up, but I had many more friends than these did. And I go, and I'm like looking at him. I go, what are you guys doing? They were little guys too. And I said, this is not a good way you're daring your friend to do because, he could have gotten seriously hurt. He says, you hit him. I said, yeah, he smacked my ass. Well, why'd you hit him after he smacked your ass? Because you don't smack someone's ass. You don't know him.
Right.
You're trying to demean somebody, right? Well, yeah, you're not, most people don't do it because they're afraid. I go, and in trying to relate to him, I said, I'm not afraid of you. So when you hit someone that's not afraid of you, they're going to punch you in the face. And they were going, oh, is this what you do in high school? Is this what you do in high school? Like you just made it into, you're able to get into a bar and you just go up and
randomly
smack someone in the ass and you're surprised you get punched in the head. I didn't punch him in the head. I elbowed him in the head.
Right.
Forearm. I guess more of a forearm.
His head might have bumped into your forearm as you were turning around.
Hey, listen, there's not much to get someone's attention
in
Philadelphia from anybody. I stepped on some guy's toe walking around. I was talking to some girl. I backed up, and the guy he said, you motherfucker. And I turn around, I'm looking at a guy's chest. I'm looking at a guy's chest. I'm 6'4".
Yeah.
And I go, holy fuck. Who is this guy? Who built you? Motherfucker. I'm just looking at my eyes go dead. My eyes go dead because I figure I'm dead. I'm dead man. Right. I'm a dead man. I'm dead. I'm dead. So I'm standing there. I'm going like this. He goes, most of you guys run away when I say something like that. The guy says, you just look like you were ready. And I said, I was ready. I was just a scared rabbit. I was scared rabbit right there. You just
didn't run yet.
Yeah, I didn't run. He goes,
in fear.
He said, I thought you were going to punch me in the face. I go, really?
If I could reach it.
I didn't know where your face was.
Okay, so I have this really great story. You might have heard Damon just say rake. But you see in the cartoons.
Did you say date rape?
Damon said rake.
Oh, rake.
Right. And
because date rape's not fun.
You always see the cartoons or some video on YouTube of somebody stepping on a rake and it comes up and smacks them in the head. Right?
Yeah.
And you think,
Bugs Bunny.
that never happens in real life, right? It just doesn't. Because who would ever...
No, because of the way it pinions when you step in, you're more likely to puncture your foot if it's sharp.
Right.
Then you got to...
Well,
that's a stupid...
As we were landscaping
building the sandbox.
Building the sandbox under the tiki and getting things to pass the P word permit, there was the big tine rake out here, and it was kind of leaning up in the bad direction. So tines up instead of tines down, and Damon.
Oh, was it like 45 degrees?
Yes, and Damon happened to walk by it, and he's got these. He's a very tall human as well, and he's got very big feet, and he slowly steps on the rake as he's passing it
with my heel.
With his heel. So it's not like he stepped on it with his toes and it came up and hit him in the head, right?
Was it?
No,
I was walking past it and I caught it with my heel. So it came up and it goosed me.
It was
in the ass.
In the ass.
It was slow-mo. And as he was walking and taking that step, it came up and passed his body and just goosed him right in the ass cheek. And I watched the entire thing. And his reaction was the best thing that I could ever possibly imagine.
Well, I knew I had stepped on the rake as soon as I landed on it, so I turned around like an idiot, so it could smack me in the face, only to realize that it wasn't going to, but I didn't think it was actually going to hit me because I looked back, I didn't see it. It was coming up. It was coming up my right side, so it goosed me just as my other foot was landing on the stair to go into the house. So a quite simple facial expression followed by "ooh" was all that came out.
And I cried for like 20 minutes.
You know what?
I laughed so
you know
hard.
it's something. If you can laugh at yourself and something, some other people that get like when they trip over something, they go back and look at it and stuff like that. I fall. If I fell in front of people and done a lot of weird stuff, so I'm never really super embarrassed anymore. Because sometimes I have some grace, some. But other times it's completely.
He by no means was embarrassed. It was just so absolutely hilarious that I just lost it crying, laughing. So every time, ever since then, when I grab that rake, I make sure that it's tines down and I keep it out of Damon's way.
Just in case.
Just in case he gets goosed by the rake again. It's fabulous.
Oh, that's great. I would love to. I'd love to see. I don't want to see anybody get. I hate. Remember when the first fucking. What was that? A home video?
America's Funniest Home Videos.
And it's like, after a while, I knew it. People were putting the kids on big wheels, putting them on steep hills.
On purpose.
And put them in fucking bushes.
Right.
They're going or in front of a swing set. Push your kid on a swing set, push them over and stuff like that. It's always something. There's a good one. There's a good video where the dad catches. Famous dad saves.
Yes, and he runs down the hill and catches the kid out of the way from getting hit by the plastic car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the shit. Oh, all sorts of things. Someone falling out of a swing.
Right.
Dad catches him, stuff like that. And I'm thinking, are they doing this on purpose now?
My favorite ones are when you have like big fat grandma on the slip and slide. And she ends up taking the whole slide with her as she goes down. Or the ones where they do the rope swing, like from the land to the water.
And they don't make it?
And they don't make it, or they get stuck upside down on the knot.
Or they don't let go, and they come back and hit the fucking tree.
Hit everything.
Or the rope swing where it's just the handle, so you're not seated on it. You have to hang from it.
Yes.
And
then
as soon as they clear the ramp,
they can't
just
hold
fall
on
straight down
because
they
they're
can't
too heavy.
physically.
They can't hold themselves. Yeah, that's
There's a lot of
I was thinking.
A lot of them.
Oh, shit. When I was a kid, I got on one of those, and my sister was messing with me on the swing, and I was pulling off, and she knocked me off, and I hit the tree stump. It was over a creek, and I fell it, and there was a little cove underneath the root system where you could breathe, and I went under the water, and you could hear him splashing in the water, freaking out when I was sitting there. Stuff. It's an opportunity.
My sister actually learned how to swim by falling off of a rope swing. At our first house was in this neighborhood, actually, and it was on a canal. And we had this big grape seed tree. I don't actually know what they're called down here.
But you had a wall, the
sure.
canal, right?
The canal, but we had a rope swing with a little bench seat on it where we would climb off of a seawall similar to this, onto the rope swing out over the canal, and then come back into the yard.
That is such a hardcore thing to do because you got concrete or
Right.
coral you were going
but
into.
Unless you seriously did something wrong, you weren't actually at risk of hitting the concrete.
I know, but I mean, every so often, drunk people do get on those things. And
Well,
they don't know
yeah,
what
but
to do.
we're talking about I was 4, my sister was 6. So we weren't exactly drunk people getting on a swing.
Well, you might as well be 4 years old.
Might as well be. Yeah, I was graceful at 4.
And for the people that aren't used to where we live here in Mexico, we have canals.
Dad, come on.
Okay, in
I'm like
Key
Vasco.
Largo-
I'm like an explorer of the new world. They didn't know where the fuck
in
they were
Key
going.
Largo, it's a lot like Venice, where our houses are on the water, and on one side you can drive down your street and park in your driveway. On the other
And
side,
some of the neighborhoods, they're underwater during a couple months of the year.
yes, and so of course we have seawalls, which just basically means there's like concrete walls.
Venice is a bog, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, in Venice, actually, I mean, honestly, most of those buildings and it's mostly commercial buildings, honestly,
Yeah.
but they're on pillars that go way down
Yeah.
into the seabed.
You know why they went there?
Why? Who went where?
Why Venice was established at all?
Why?
No, because when the barbarians were invading, the population retreated to the swamps because they couldn't take their horses and everything in there. So they built their residencies in places where they couldn't take
In
horses.
places,
and
yeah,
shit
well, they
like
had
that.
limited access. To
Yeah,
it.
the limited
Right.
access,
So,
and there's someone
so
protected.
of course, like in the backyard, if Jim were to stand up and take 10 steps to the right, he would be in the ocean.
In a canal
Yes, but a canal that
leads to the ocean, leads to the
right.
Florida Bay.
Technically,
It is,
it's a bay.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
the
this side
Florida
is the bay.
Bay.
Yep.
I would live with the manatee. I think they would embrace me.
I have a manatee.
You have a manatee?
Yes, his name is George.
He comes up?
He does. He lives at my other house, the house that the kids live in.
Oh,
Arnold
okay.
Town.
He comes to see you?
Well, if you get in the water and you swim in the canal, you're not supposed to touch them because they're protected. So I don't. Touch
But he
them.
comes to see you?
He bumps me all the time if I'm in the water. If I didn't get in there and you scrape the bottom of the boat and you clean off all the stuff, and he just comes up and he nudges you.
Oh, that's
And then
nice.
he likes it when you pet him and but don't tell anybody. So I swim to the back of the boat so the neighbors can't see. But I pick off the barnacles off his back and he likes that. And then
I always like to end the show with it. I'm not saying we're ending it right now, but
Yes.
I'm positive. I didn't want to go on to. No, but that you get the barnacles
yeah,
on
I
his back?
pick him off. He gets little teeny barnacles and he likes it when you pick him off. And then he rolls over and his flippers come up and he likes to be petted and he likes to
Fuck
play.
that. That's
So-
tough. They have very little flexibility. They don't do yoga, so they can't get around. They get it with
Flexibility,
their
nothing. We
flips.
sat out here one day and watched 2 of the youngins. They were like barrel rolling on top of each other and body slamming each. They were coming out of the water.
Really?
Don't anybody tell me a manatee is not an agile creature. We just hear. All
I don't
this-
mean agile. I mean, so you have the flippers and you have the barnacles, and you can't. Let's say you have it on your
Well,
body.
they cannot clean themselves.
They clean themselves, and there's no. I mean, that's got to be something. Was that from? I was going to make a movie reference, but I didn't know what it was from, and I barely can remember those things, so I won't do it. It's getting a little breezy here in Key Largo. Before we sign off, I want to ask again. I think we're on the move up. We've had a great week. We're up 50% from the. We've been not 50%, but we're growing once again at 10% growth each week.
Yes.
That is significant, and over the course, I mean, any type of return like that, if you had an investment fund, they go crazy over it. We're looking to increase the quality of our sound, our content. We just need some reviews, iTunes reviews, Spotify reviews, Spreaker, TuneIn, whatever,
Yes.
whatever
Now-
mode you listen in, or
We
whatever
did
service.
discover something this week that the easiest way to find us for any avenue, because different people have different phone services.
Google-
different phones.
Google it or-
If you
or
go
use
to
a search
Google-
engine.
If you go to Google
You-
and you
whether
just type in,
Do they use
he's-
Jeeves at all anymore?
I'm not sure, but
Or Alibaba?
Everybody uses
China.
Jeeves. Maybe
we had
Bing.
some,
Maybe Bing.
China. I would like to thank some of the listeners. We have United Kingdom. I think we're like number 356 in comedy podcasting in England. We could be in the 200s now.
Well,
And
we
and
got
we
you,
haven't
right?
really exposed ourselves to many English people yet. I'm looking forward to expose myself
You need to expose
to
yourself.
as many British people as possible. And when I mean that intimately.
He
with-
really does.
with our ideas and the podcast. We're not going to be doing. Think of us like aliens from outer space, and all we want to do is anally probe as many people as we can.
So if you're old,
I ain't only probe
if you're
meaning
old
that
school,
you're going to give us a review. I don't mean to literally
if you're
anally
old
probe.
school, right, Jim? If you're old school and you're just used to Google and you don't have a podcast app on your phone and you don't know how to find us, and some of their friends are telling you, "Hey,
You
gotta
could go
listen
to our website.
You could go to our website.
www. Well, if you're listening, you know where we are.
Well,
What
no,
the fuck
because
are we
if they
doing?
want to refer their friends, just like when I was just trying to
Yeah,
send
yeah,
the link
okay.
to
You're going to tell your
Alyssa.
friends. Go to the website, Keys Bartender. That's the website.
Right.
www.keysbartender.com.
Or
www.largecockRings.com.
.com or you
No,
can
not
find
Large Cock
him on Facebook as well. If you just go into Facebook and you find Keys Bartender, because I just sent the link to Alyssa,
Yeah.
but she
And you
does
can
not
send
have
us
an
emails,
iPhone. So
and you can send us emails to the
emails.
show. We're going to set up the thing. Jim@keysbartender.com. I promise I'm not going to send you any dick pics.
And if
Maybe
you
someone else's.
are true old school,
What?
you can write us a letter with this stuff called paper and this thing called a
No
pen.
letters.
You can put it in an envelope. And you can put a stamp on it because nobody
No,
does
it's an
that
address.
anymore.
There is an address attached to this stuff. But why would you want to? If you're doing this, why would you send? If you're able to listen to this, then you obviously, if you
Hi,
are able
Papa.
to, if you're able to listen to this, if you they're going to say there's going to be someone who's like 80 years old and goes, my grandson, he gets these podcasts and records it on this cassette tape for me, and then he plays it for me when he comes to the home.
Hey, Jim, how do you pay for your bills?
I do it online.
So does the majority of the rest of the free world.
A very special someone, which we love dearly, still writes a check and mails it in. Puts the
I
stamp
do
on
that
it.
for like certain things. So most of them, it's all boom, boom, boom. It's payday, boom. I'm doing it.
And that was
Wait.
my segue into that
Is
because
it
I am picking
Gloria?
on Papa Joe in Alabama right now.
Papa
I
Joe?
love you, Papa Joe, but I still think it's funny that you buy stamps.
Oh, I have stamps. They last forever now.
Well, of course, because you buy
I
forever.
use it once a month. There's one thing I have to send in.
And you mail one thing. Yeah.
One thing a month.
Right. So I just think it's funny because
Yeah.
Papa still mails.
And
like,
there's a
check
Filipino
to pay
woman.
For, like, the
There's a
electric bill.
Filipino woman that thinks I'm going to rescue her. Send her a letter.
It turns out on the electric bill, by the way.
Oh, yes.
I
I'm just
actually
kidding
paid it
about that
twice.
Filipino
Of course you did.
woman.
Yep.
Oh, and
it wasn't Papa. It wasn't Papa with a check.
Thank our
from me.
listeners in Germany, Spain,
Yes.
India.
Deutschland.
India. Speaker
Guten Nacht.
just opened bought a big service in India, and I know the people
USA
from India. It's
Prime
a
Credit is paying.
huge democracy. It's over 1 billion people. I'm sure there's tons of Indians. Not tons, percentage-wise, very small,
Maybe
but still a large number.
1%.
We need 0.1%.
We need
0.1% of you.
0.1%.
0.1% would be 100,000 Indian listeners.
Absolutely.
I mean, of the people that listen to English podcasts.
Yes.
Indians don't. That's
No, they
more.
just answer the phone
That's
calls
more.
when you call for your credit card company.
That's just like what?
USA
Almost
Prime
anything.
Credit.
There's so many people that I mean, there's. Come on, think of the United States.
They have a lot of outsourcing in that country. So
Yeah, they do.
yes. But
And you know
anyway.
what? If you want to learn English the way we speak it, you can learn the wrong way from me, the right way from Jenna, and the right way from Damon and Tyler. And then you could get everyone. You say when you're talking to someone like me, you go, "What is that? What exactly is that gentleman saying?" And sometimes I've gotten a couple scam calls from. I mean, last year I did it. I got Mr. Haran. We understand you have not paid your taxes. There'll be a cop car to pick you up shortly. And I go, a cop car? Will it be a paddy wagon? Will it be a paddy wagon? Come? Oh, my gosh. Can I give you the money? How do I give the money? I have cash in my hand. How do I get it to you? Can I put it in an envelope? And I keep them on as long as I can. I love doing that shit.
The Target gift cards.
Yeah, it could be from India or stuff like that. If you're going to do it, try to get your accent dead on. Say it innocuous. Don't try to use the King's English or sound like someone is a newscaster. Have a little accent. And you can learn that accent by listening to Keys Bartender. And how we are when we're drinking. And please leave us a review if you are, right before you try to steal our identity, leave us a review.
Leave us a review. And
Yeah.
Alyssa, I'm sorry. Please don't die death by stink. I'm sorry that they're dealing with your sewer across the street from your house right now.
That's great. Yeah, Alyssa, hold it up.
But you better be at work at 8:30.
Tough
Yes,
shit.
I'm sorry.
That is tough
Even
shit.
if you have to drive 2 piles of poo.
Yeah. What does Alyssa do there?
Alyssa is our warranty processor. So she works in our service department in the office.
Okay.
Yes, and we apologize.
Tough shit.
It's a lot.
Oh, no.
It's tough.
I don't mean
it's
that.
tough shit.
I don't mean saying tough
And,
shit.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Alyssa. I hope it. That's such a shitty thing to say.
It's
It
a shitty
stinks. It
situation.
stinks.
It really
It
is.
stinks
It's
that
it really
we said
does
something
stink.
like that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just. It reeks of just meanness.
I just really hope, Alyssa, that your AC doesn't go out tonight. That'd be really shitty.
Yeah, that was.
It would be really
Yeah.
shitty. She's actually thinking about maybe evacuating.
You know what?
Because she was wondering if she could
Swamp
die of
ass
of
wouldn't be
of
so
a
bad, would
Poopalanche. Is a poopalanche?
Poopalanche.
Well, seeing as
Poopalanche.
how we are a flat town,
shit
and
sangria.
the only hills
Yeah.
are man-made.
Poop,
I
yeah.
don't think anything is
A shit.
lancing anywhere.
A shit storm. A shit. A
She
shit-nado.
wishes she could text a smell.
Yeah, I do. Hey, once again, we ended. All our thoughts go out to the people in Alabama. Sorry about your that tornado. And if you're going to help somebody, there are people in line where you can go and reach out to the people in southern Alabama where they had that horrible tornado.
Devastating.
Yeah, last night. This is. I'm going to say thank you to Damon,
Thank you.
Jenna, Kelly.
Thank you. Oh, and hi, mommy.
Hi, Gloria, and to Tyler here.
Hello, everybody. Good night.
Okay, good night. This is Jim, the Keys bartender, saying goodbye. Let's play that music.
After a long day of being pulled in every direction, the last thing anyone wants to think about is what's for dinner. That's where Schwann's can help, with a variety of real food choices, frozen to lock in freshness. From ready-made meals, premium meats and side dishes, to vegetables, ice cream, and more. Schwann's foods go from freezer to table in minutes, not hours, so you can pull off a delicious meal in no time at all. Ordered, delivered, done. That's homemade easy. To help simplify mealtime, visit schwans.com. After a long day of being pulled in every direction, the last thing anyone wants to think about is what's for dinner. That's where Schwann's can help, with a variety of real food choices, frozen to lock in freshness. From ready-made meals, premium meats and side dishes, to vegetables, ice cream, and more. Schwann's foods go from freezer to table in minutes, not hours, so you can pull off a delicious meal in no time at all. Ordered, delivered, done. That's homemade easy. To help simplify mealtime, visit schwans.com.